Park improvements, sports complex enhancements, and new amenities to Midland's offerings are just a few of the ways local foundations, businesses, and organizations contribute to the quality of life in Midland. For City Manager John Lynch, these gifts mean help for the city budget.
Well, gifts and contributions over the last 3 or 4 years in particular have become incredibly important because economic conditions have been so challenging that the City of Midland would have a very difficult time undertaking the kinds of projects that those gifts have funded.
Many of these gifts are meant to be long-standing contributions to our community, so making sure future funding is available to maintain the gift is an important part of planning.
Because over the last several years, we've seen the philanthropic community become much more insistent that the gifts that they're interested in be comprised of a component that results in long-term sustainability. And when you look at some of the things that have happened in the last few years, take the funding of the parking lot reconstruction at the library most recently, for example, you see the foundations making a continued investment in facilities around the community to make sure that they're up to snuff.
In the past 2 years, the Midland community has enjoyed gifts from the necessary and practical, like the resurfacing of the Grace A. Dow Memorial Library parking lot with a gift from the Dow Foundation and the Gerstacker Foundation of $100,000, to leisure enhancements like the Strosacker Foundation's $350,000 renovation of Troon Park, to sought-after public enhancements like the Midland Police Department's K-9 unit startup, thanks to $60,000 in local foundation and community grants. Other enhancements come as the result of an individual's or organization's passion and interest.
Well, it's interesting to see where the interests come from with respect to the giving. For example, you may have a very specific interest, like the Midland Community Tennis Center recently contributed to the reconstruction and reformatting of tennis courts in Central Park. So that's their business, and they were interested in pursuing that on behalf of the community. You see similar interests born out of the Midland Softball Association, for example, with drainage improvements at the Redcoats complex. And you see families, for example, the Kepler family recently offered a generous matching challenge grant to the community, which has helped fund the biking and shared car, bicycle lanes around the community, along with the Non-Motorized Trail Committee.
And this kind of generosity has been going on for a long, long time.
CURRIEs obviously are well known for the initial gift of the municipal golf course to the community in the early 1950s. And since that time, the family has remained active in the ongoing care and expansion of the course. Now, there have been other philanthropic interests that have helped the golf course along, but the family has sustained its interest, and it's great to see that kind of longevity when it comes to a community asset.
And Midland's many foundations contribute generously to the community for a number of reasons.
The Midland Area Community Foundation really is the community. It's a foundation where people that live here in Midland give their money, they put it together so they can be philanthropists and can do great things in the community. So the great thing about the Midland Area Community Foundation is it really is the community. It's people working together to improve their community. But when you look around the community, you'd be hard-pressed to find a place in our community that doesn't reflect the Community Foundation. The Tridge is a great example of that. We certainly were not the only contributor to that. There were other foundations that gave generously to that project, and many, many individuals in this community. But the Midland Area Community Foundation brought everyone together and held those funds and helped to, pay the bills and see that that project got underway. The Plymouth Fun Zone is another great example of that, something that children in this community enjoy every day. And again, it was citizens in the community with an interest in doing that came to us and said, hey, we've got this idea. We've got the accessible canoe kayak launch right down by the Tridge, and that was again a Community Foundation project. So as you look around, there are so many projects that were taken on by the Community Foundation. And again, we might be one player in that, but we're the place that can centrally hold all the resources and bring people together to work on those projects.
I think that we really have tried to do things with the city that would mean the most to the entire city. And depending on what's happened, there have been a lot of different things. The library certainly has been one of our big interests for as long as it's been there. And they all weren't just the Dow Foundation. The foundations in Midland have worked together through the years to really try to make things special. We want to make Midland the best place in the world to live and raise a family of any place in the world.
Regardless of the motivation, the generous gestures are a great benefit to the community.
Well, long-term sustainability of a community is really all about quality of life. If you can't preserve the quality of life for the residents, the people who want to live, work, and play in a particular town, you're going to have a very difficult time being successful. Fortunately, we have a lot of philanthropic interests in Midland that recognize that and work very hard at keeping up a vibrant quality of life, and the fabric of the community benefits so richly from their interest.
Midland is truly blessed with great supporters who give back to their community.